do you feel? A Shot Through the Wall is out on digital platforms, cable on Friday. How does it feel?
It's exciting. It's a dream come true. It's my first feature, so I'm really excited for people to watch it. And yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I'm feeling so grateful because it's been a long journey. We filmed this in 2017, and it's a
Yeah.
small indie film. We don't have the marketing budget of Marvel, and it's been obstacle after obstacle, even trying to get seen. And then now to have it come out in theaters despite Omicron, having it be available on all these streaming, not streaming, but video on demand and cable platforms. It's like I just birthed a baby, even though I didn't do most of the work. It's Aimee Long and her producer.
No, you did some work. Hey, you were, acting in the film. You did something.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I was talking to Aimee and Derek before this, and they did mention that you guys filmed this like a while back. So I don't know, like how has it been just like waiting for it to come out? How has the process
I
been?
know.
We locked the cut right before the pandemic happened. And then we were going to go to a few festivals. And then they got canceled, especially the very beginning of the pandemic. So it was a little disheartening. But we were lucky that we premiered in 2020 in Bentonville Film Festival. And from there on, we got a sales agent. We went to a couple of other festivals, and then we got a sales agent, and they really believe in us. We were very grateful for him, for Concourse Media. And then from there, we got a distributor, Vertical Entertainment. They were very supportive.
Nobody expected it to take this long, but it was a challenge, because at first we weren't sure if we're going to get a sales agent. At first we weren't even sure we're going to get a distributor, and it was just every single milestone was like the ship is on fire.
No, and you guys did film it before the pandemic hit, but you guys were affected by getting it out there to screens and platforms because of the pandemic. So, but it's finally coming out. So
I know.
So I started this process in 2015. And so it's inspired by an actual incident that happened in 2014. There was a police officer in New York City who killed an innocent Black man, Asian American police officer who killed an innocent Black man in the projects in New York. And when that happened, I think right after his indictment, I went home for a weekend. I was living in New York at the time, so it was in the local news and everything. Yeah. And then that weekend, I went home to California, and there was an event at home. There was, I don't remember exactly, it was a wedding or some sort of celebration. But at that dinner table, there was my friends and family got into this really heated debate about whether this cop was scapegoated, or whether he should have taken he got the accountability, or he is responsible for what happened. So I remember that night going home, just jogging some thoughts down, and trying to figure out where sort of I stand in this spectrum of racism today in America. And it was really interesting to me. I did a lot of research. I was jotting down ideas, and I thought maybe I should write this into a film, because there's so much that I want to talk about. So yeah, I really want to insert this Asian American perspective to this debate of Black and white and racism and prejudice.
We filmed it a little bit right after the first Black Lives Matters movement. And then ever since then, it's magnified, and it's become so much more relevant. And, on one side of it, it was kind of scary. And at the same time, it was also kind of sad too, because it's this is exactly the thing that our film is meant to address, and hopefully get everybody into this conversation so we can start moving forward and find an answer to it. And
that's why it will resonate more with the audience. It's just so realistic to what's going on, or what's been or what's happened in society. So I think it's gonna connect with a lot of people, not just because it's entertaining, because I watched it and I loved it, But
thank you.
It's just because it touches upon so much like delicate topics that are like so relevant to what we're going or what we've been through, you know, in society.
Right.
How was that process of like getting what you had written in the paper to the screen?
Right. So I did my research about a year or a year and a half, and then had a couple of drafts. So we start casting. It was really interesting because we started casting into the 25th around 2017 actually.
Okay.
2017 we started casting, but then it took me a while. So in the very beginning, I went to different casting directors, and a lot of them are saying like I'm writing myself into a wall, because it's very much of an Asian American story, and it's predominantly an Asian American cast. And this was before Crazy Rich Asians and the wave of Asian American films that came out. So I, it took me a while to find the right cast, and I think it took about 9-10 months. And I was very lucky to work with a veteran casting director. Her name is Pat McCorkle, and she was really patient with me, and we just really tried to find that Asian American family that was the center of everything.
Because this was before Crazy Rich Asians. Right. This is before any of that. And so then he was like, it's so rare to have an Asian American story with an Asian American lead. I hope you get it. And then I was like, I hope so too. I auditioned for it. There were 3 callbacks in 1 week. They were looking for this guy. Yeah. For 8 to 9 months. And I booked it. And, I just felt so lucky. This is my first lead role ever. And that's to amazing. Be able, thank you, to be able to part such a relevant, timely thing was doubly meaningful. So that's how I feel about it.
I remember, shooting in New York has its own set of challenges. I think one of the locations we were at, we had a crew outside, or we didn't have a crew. There was a crew outside who had jackhammer. He was jackhammering the sidewalk, and they had a working order or whatever that's present, and then whenever I call action, they would start jackhammering. And then apparently the day before there was a HBO crew, and so they paid them $10,000 to go away. And so they were asking for the same, and we're not HBO. We do not have that budget. And I think at that point they were just following. Whenever they see production trucks, they just come out and do this. And so apparently that's yeah, exactly. So anyway, funny. It worked out in the end. But we shot.
New York is interesting.
Yeah, we shot 99% on location in New York, and it was really fun, and we had some really great moments. But it was definitely not without its challenges.
What's a good memory you have from set? Like, I don't know, something broke, somebody said this joke, I broke out of character.
You'll love this one. One of the craziest things about filming in New York is that, one day we were shooting at I think it was like an ice cream store or something, and then like there's this jackhammering outside. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? And then later on, I'm talking to the producer, and he was like, oh, this construction company found our movie set, and we're like, oh, we're going to suddenly want to drill a hole in the sidewalk right outside of this ice cream shop. And then they're like, oh, if you want us to go away, you can pay us $10,000.
Oh my God, stop. Aimee, I was talking to Aimee, and she said the same exact thing. I asked her, like, what's a funny anecdote or something that you have? She said the same exact, that's
she knows,
bizarre.
she knows she stole that story from me. She stole that story from me. I was telling
it. We know.